I have been asked to say something about what I consider the most significant event or events of 2025. Undoubtedly, the most important event from a global point of view is the return of Donald Trump as President of the United States for a second term. Since Donald Trump came to power again in January of this year, he has not behaved in a particularly statesmanlike manner. He has upended the global order as we have known it for now over 75 years, i.e., since after the Second World War, when the United Nations was founded, and an attempt was made to have a rights based global order where everybody has equal rights, big or small, independent of the geographies, independent of their economic status. This, regrettably, has been upended completely in the context of the present aggression in Gaza. Right now, it seems relatively peaceful in the sense that there is no bombardment, but the people of Gaza have withstood almost 2 years of continuous bombing and now have been reduced to a state of absolute destitution and are possibly also facing hunger. In all of this, the United States government, led by Donald Trump, has steadfastly stood by the side of Israel, or rather the Israeli state, managed by Benjamin Netanyahu, protecting him in the United Nations against censure, but much, much more importantly, by providing aid, especially military equipment. Without the military equipment from the United States, Israel will not be able to maintain this pummeling of the people of Gaza. Mr. Trump is very quick to impose sanctions on countries that he's not fond of, but he has not stood in the way of Israel treating the people of Gaza as if they are less than human. Now, while all of this is very important, I, however, wish to say that the event or events that have affected me personally the most, as somebody living in India and in Kerala in particular, is the continuous aggression of people who are less powerful, who have less political support within the country, notably migrants. We have recently read about an event in Uttarakhand where a person of the Chakma tribe of Tripura was murdered in Dehradun, based on his looks and a certain hate that is inspired by that. Now, this is deeply troubling. Before I move on to speak a little bit about its implications and what little we can do about preventing this in the future, let me say I'm particularly dismayed as a Malayali to hear of the event about 2 weeks ago in Palghat or Palghat district, where a migrant laborer from Chhattisgarh by the name of Ram Narayan was lynched by a mob of Malayalis on grounds that he was a Bangladeshi migrant laborer. Even if he was Bangladeshi, he has a right to life. He could have been reported to the authorities and deported to Bangladesh, but under no circumstances, legally or morally, should he have been killed. That is a deep blot on us in Kerala, especially because the Pinarayi Vijayan government in particular and a large section of the Malayalis are constantly speaking about how much more progressive and democratic we are than people in the rest of India. This must stop. Now that I've spoken about Kerala, let me say something about other similar acts of aggression, mostly or almost all against minorities in this country. An event being a Oriya laborer being hit by a machete in a moving train in Tamil Nadu by Tamil youth. Presumably they're Tamil youth. If they're not Tamil youth, they would not dare do something like that in the heart of Tamil Nadu. Now, all of these events have elicited far less outcry from both politicians and civil society, the events in Kerala and Tamil Nadu in particular, than one would expect of states with such high levels of literacy and human development too. Now, one of the things that this points out is that the rot is in our society. We cannot really blame politicians for this. Of course, political parties in India are indulging in all forms of activity to gain support in the elections, notably welfareism and a form of pandering to identity politics, both of which do not necessarily or do not at all ensure that events such as this, attacks on minorities, etc., are happening, or that the law and order in the states concerned, once again in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, are improved to a significant extent that the migrant laborers in these states feel protected. Now, I have already said that the fault is really in society. And one of the things that I would like to say is that I am struck by the fact that many of these events, especially the aggression in Dehradun and in Tamil Nadu and possibly also in Palghat, are done by extremely young people. They're not college going, they're probably just left college. All of this speaks something seriously being wrong with our educational system. Why are youth who have been educated in India behaving in this way? They are behaving in this way because we, the older generation, do nothing to socialize them into life in a democracy. The essential feature of a democracy is that it brings out the best in everybody, it allows everybody to reach their potential, and it is the duty of every one of us to ensure that other persons in our democracies, whatever their religion, whatever their linguistic or cultural background, are equally supported to flourish, to lead lives that they value. We have not done that. Our educational system is constantly pandering to young people, either by keeping fees low or by encouraging them to think only of their entitlements, making passing of examinations and achieving of degrees easier by lowering standards. All of this does not help one bit in making them responsible citizens and thus strengthening our society. What we need to do is to encourage young people to have moral ambition. This idea was put forth quite effectively by a Dutch author by the name of Rutger Bregman earlier in 2025. Moral ambition is the ambition to make a world a better place and to exhort oneself to act accordingly. Now, this is what we should encourage our young people to do, to give themselves some moral ambition and do whatever they can to further it or act upon it or actualize it by making the world a better place. Unless all of us, and especially our young people, because India has a very large young population, begin to think along these lines, our democracy would be endangered seriously, and we are not going to make any progress economically, socially, or much more importantly, morally. But I live in hope. And I'd like to say, as we enter 2026, I hope very much that we will rise to the occasion, act with moral ambition, and work in every way to make the world a better place. Thank you. A very happy new year. Jai Hind.